views and opinions expressed in this program are those of the participants and do not necessarily reflect the views of BronxNet or the program underwriters.
Good evening and welcome to BronxTalk. This is a very challenging time in New York and in the borough of the Bronx. I don't have to tell you for many reasons. And because of the pandemic, we have had many different issues, certainly starting with healthcare, economic development, housing. I mean, there's just been, so many different things have happened to all of us as a result. One of the things that has happened, and I'm going to show you these numbers right up the top. If you look at the unemployment rate in the Bronx, in December 2019, we had the lowest rate in our history, which is really not too long ago, 4.2%. By May 2020, right in the middle of the pandemic, for logical reasons, I suppose, it's at 24.6%. Then look at the bottom, the highest unemployment rate in the state, 11.1%. And it's really unfortunate. We haven't rebounded as far as employment goes, much like we have in some other categories. Certainly the Omicron and COVID numbers are dropping right now. But there are other things going on in Bronx employment and employment really all across the country. First of all, the ironic thing is employers are looking for employees. We're hearing from companies, we can't make it work because we have jobs and we can't find people to fill them. I think it's because people are changing their attitudes toward taking jobs maybe that underpay, and they're saying, you know what, I'm worth something. I got to be paid what I'm worth. I can respect that, certainly. People have also said after COVID, you know what, it's a lot of problems. I want to dedicate my life to things that really mean something to me. Sometimes that means entrepreneurship, and it doesn't mean getting a traditional job. That doesn't necessarily show up in the numbers. A lot of reasons, a lot of things. What we thought we would do, there's an immense need for workforce development in the Bronx. What we thought we would do this evening is show options. What can you do? Especially, I think of young people a lot, but not exclusively. What can you do if you are looking for work? And we brought three experts in who are doing workforce development in the Bronx, and we're enthusiastic about their participation this evening. So let's start off and say good evening to the Department Director of Workforce Development at BronxWorks. They have an extensive program. And so hi to Betty Ann Tamaisar. Nice to see you.
Hi, nice to, thank you so much for having me.
And also the Executive Director from the Woodlawn Conservancy at the Woodlawn Cemetery. It is my friend, Meg Ventrudo. Nice to see you, Meg.
Hi, Gary. Good to see you too.
And they have a wonderful Bridge to Crafts Careers program, which is a different sort of workforce development program, highly successful as well. And let's go to my alma mater and say, listen, we can't do anything if we don't really support education in the Bronx. So it is Jane MacKillop, who is the Lehman Dean of the School of Continuing and Professional Studies. Ms. MacKillop, nice to have you with us.
It's great to be here. Thank you.
All right. Now, Ms. Tamaisar is very, very interested in telling us about the programs. Give us the expanse of the workforce development program at BronxWorks. What do you, because you have put a lot of resource into this for a long time.
So, before I go into that, I just wanted to go back to talk
to the numbers.
About the numbers that you put up on screen. And so obviously, if you look at those numbers, they're higher than the other boroughs. They're higher than the other, most of the country. And then the question that arises, right, and you alluded a little bit to this, is, well, why is that the case? And I think the answer to that is twofold, and you touched a little bit on that. But people are mentally fatigued. And I think, as we, look at the entire labor market, currently there are jobs. And so people are asking, well, why aren't people rushing to acquire those jobs, right? And so there is, I think people have suffered a lot. The Bronx in particular has been really hard hit by the pandemic. And people are mentally fatigued. They've been sick. They've had to watch loved ones die around them. They've had to quit their jobs because of childcare issues. And so, that's one part of the story. And then
can I follow
yes.
up and just ask you about that? So when you see people come in, you don't get the sense that it's, I don't want to say the word enthusiastic, that there's as much energy behind it as you did, let's say, before, March or April 2020?
No, so obviously, I mean, the pandemic has changed the way that we work, and it's also, had a really huge impact on those that we serve. And so people come into our offices, obviously asked what services we offer. We have a multitude of programs, focused on job readiness, inclusive of resume writing, interview prep, occupational skills training, and all those traditional things. But we also, through Montefiore Medical Center, we have programs. We have a program, it's called the Herodots Program. Hero meaning healthy, empowered, resilient, and open. And that program really focuses a lot on health, mental health. So we see a lot of it focuses on non-custodial dads, and we see a lot of those dads coming in. And so they want to work, but they're not in the place mentally where they're ready to do that. And so we do all the traditional, employment-based services, but we have really, qualified trained clinicians from Montefiore who do, really comprehensive clinical intakes with people.
So I want to ask you, looking through the website, there, you target, and I'm going to list them, that's right there: NYCHA residents, young adults, yes. Non-custodial fathers,
yes.
HPD Section 8 voucher holders, older adults, and of course, community residents of all types. In
yes.
many cases, these are hard to place people. What's the biggest issue that you address to try and place them? You mentioned mental health. It could be just that kind of stability. What is it needs to be done to get them work ready?
I mean, obviously, mental health is on the top of the list as a barrier to employment. But in addition to that, there are people who have experienced childcare issues. They have, housing instability, lack of food. And, the really unique thing about our workforce development department is that we're located in a larger human service organization. So while we are assisting, individuals with employment, we're also doing our part to make sure that we're referring to those other services that can address those barriers at the same time. So,
got it. So let's just before we bring on your colleagues here, let's just list for me the kinds of work that people get if they go through your programs, if they use your advice. Give 2 or 3, and then we'll bring Ms. Ventrudo into.
Well, we offer a lot of OSHA trainings. So the OSHA 30, the flagger, the scaffolder, which obviously prepares people to work in the construction industry.
I'm sure Ms. Ventrudo knows a lot about that.
Yep. And then, we do protective services training, the 8-hour, 16-hour fire guard training for security officers. BronxWorks has been one of the biggest employers of those trainees. So that safety monitors, security officers, that's a big one for us. We also place a lot of individuals into the transportation industry. So we do offer CDL training as well. And so that is really, one of the industries that has a lot of job openings right now. So
that's right. And these are jobs that some of the people who are in those categories that I mentioned can actually do.
Yes.
Meg Ventrudo over there in Woodlawn, nice to see you again. I'm going to steal a little bit of your thunder. You well know, because I produced this video. I think it's a lovely video. Of course, the videographer was Walter Garr, who's BronxNet's Director of Creative Services. So we're going to show just a little clip from this video that we did about the cemetery and Bridge to Craft Careers. It happens to feature Meg Ventrudo in there. So anyway, let's just take a quick look, and then we'll talk to Meg about what they do.
Our Bridge to Craft Career program is something that's so unique and so special to Woodlawn. We work with cohorts of young people in both masonry arts and landscape arts, and we spend time training them. We have preservation masonry students that are using the cleaning solutions on our mausoleums that they would be using in a construction job. And to have that experience and to go into a career that much more prepared than your peers is really, really great for both the students and also for the employer.
We actually learned that there are very different type of stones that we deal with, chemicals, and what to do in cases.
When you clean a mausoleum monument, you feel proud, you feel good because you're doing something good for others.
We have a on-site arboriculture and horticultural training program here at the Woodlawn Cemetery. And so every morning we start with online training. We want them to understand how trees live in the environment, especially in an urban environment. And that way, when they install and care for plants, they'll know what to do to give the trees and shrubs the best treatment.
There's no other program I've ever seen, at least in New York City, that has ever given me as much opportunity to be hands-on learning and a career path that'll take me a long way.
All right, I'm in. I like the idea. So, Ms. Ventrudo, who are the young men and women who participate in the program? What's their profile?
Sure.
And who do you look for to say, hey, these people can do this? Because there's real work out there in craft careers.
There is actual great jobs available and good paying jobs, especially at that entry level position. Our recruiting pool are young people from the 5 boroughs. Primarily the Bronx and northern Manhattan, but we've had some folks from Brooklyn and Queens join us as well. And ages 18 to 24 that have high school or GED diplomas and are looking to go into the trades and crafts as opposed to going to college. So they might be some young folks that are not college bound. We do work with The Door, a social services agency that helps with the life skills and the resume writing so that when they complete the workforce development on our side, they have the ability to go into careers and be ready for that interview and learn how to show up to work on time and have their hard hats and their protective equipment, and they're pretty much ready to go after being with us for 10 weeks. We also give the young folks OSHA 30 site safety, scaffolding, and flagging as part of this program too. So they have the ability to work in those construction jobs and flagging jobs in New York City.
And this is tried and true. And I know from the work that we did together, you really are expanding the program. I mean, I think the last conversations we had was, I forget what the numbers were. There were 50 graduates one year. You want to do 50 graduates every couple of months. Talk about the growth of the program. Right now, as the pandemic hurt, much like we heard just a moment ago that the pandemic has kind of, stifled people's enthusiasm. What do you find?
Well, I think our success story is that Woodlawn is an outdoor learning lab and that we were able to have this program both in masonry and landscaping, even though the pandemic was still going on, because we could be outside and the hands-on work that our young folks are doing happens outside. We've had to pivot on our end and be a little creative with Zoom, but that's also given us the ability to bring in experts in the field from anywhere in the United States to talk to our young people. So that's been really good for us. And I think,
Right.
We just had to be a little bit flexible on our side. Our young folks, we just completed a cohort of 30 young folks in landscaping. And
Wow.
these young folks are starting to get jobs. Some of them have been hired by the Central Park Conservancy. Some of them have been hired by Davy Tree, which is a private landscaping and property management firm. Other young people are getting jobs with property management companies. So the success story is great. And I think we found that the young folks who unfortunately maybe sat out of school for a year or two and were learning online got to come together with their peers, meet other
Right.
18 and 19 and
Let
20
me
year
just
olds.
interject. During the pandemic, people were isolated. People, they did need to take time off because maybe virtual school didn't work for them or whatever it was, or they needed to care for their families. I mean, we know what goes on. And so this kind of brings them back to square one and gives them an opportunity. Right?
Brings them back together and lets them meet people that are going to be their future colleagues as
Right.
they progress in their careers.
When we put this program together, as I was thinking about how to really present it, I said, wait a minute, we got to really talk about education. We should talk about higher education. You couldn't find a bigger supporter of public education than me. And so we went to Dean MacKillop at Lehman College. Talk to me about the program. Now, you've been very innovative. You've been thinking, right along with what's going on. Talk to me about the Bronx Recovery Corps. What is that, and how does that work, and how does that interface here with what we're talking about?
Oh, I'm so glad you're asking me that question. So the Bronx Recovery Corps is this amazing program whereby some of our Lehman students are able to be interns in nonprofits in the Bronx, and they're paid interns. They're paid by Deutsche Bank. We had a big grant from Deutsche Bank to pay them to be in the Recovery Corps, to work, to get work experience, but more to the point, to contribute to these nonprofits, but not to do it out of pocket. As we know, unemployment is very high in the Bronx. The Bronx is one of the poorest counties in New York State. So we're really looking to support our young people by having them work as interns in nonprofit organizations, but paid internships. And that's a critical part.
I wonder if some of the other folks who are on the show who run not-for-profits are saying, oh, wait a minute, maybe there's somebody here. What is the nature of the work that they get through this program? Now, can I assume you run a training and a coordination with them? And what ultimately do they get to do that could, frankly, help support their families and launch their careers?
It really depends what they're looking for. So we try to match the young person, their aspirations, their goals, with the mission of the nonprofit. Make sure that this is a mutually satisfying and satisfactory experience. We do a training program first, for which they get credit, and I think that's a critical part of what we offer at Lehman. That all of our training is, as far as possible, for credit, so that people can then use the training, use the certification to follow up on their degree, because we know that there are a lot of people in New York City. There's about 800,000 who have no degree but have some college. So we're looking to match all of that together, but also to match, as I said, the interns with the needs and the goals of the nonprofit. So it completely depends what the nonprofit is looking for as to what you are able to do in the way of matchmaking.
Well, one of the things that I mentioned earlier is, people thinking, I want to do something that's important. I want to do something that means something to me. And, I know Bronx people as well as you folks do. That's what Bronx people are thinking about.
Yes.
We all know what's going on. So this clearly gives them an opportunity to say, hey, using BronxWorks as an example, working at BronxWorks might be really interesting for me. Or if they're interested in history or in legacy, being at Woodlawn Cemetery would be a place I'd like to work. And believe me, everybody's working with short staff now. If their work is paid for, win, win, win. The other thing that I want to just ask you about, and we have a couple of photos we're going to show, this actually was launched, the concept was launched before the pandemic, and that was a nursing building at Lehman College. And I don't have to tell anybody how many times we have heard that there is a shortage of nurses. What's the status of that building?
Oh, it's going gangbusters. It's really doing very, very well. But it's not yet open. As you know, it's 75 million state-of-the-art nursing education, research and practice.
That's what it looks like now.
That's exactly what it looks like. Yes, but we're just barreling away, and we're very, very excited at this because this will be the only public nursing program in the Bronx, and it's the largest public program of its kind between SUNY Binghamton, way upstate, and Hunter College in Manhattan. So the new facility will provide our nursing programs with additional instructional space for a growing enrollment. And we know that this is what the Bronx needs.
Well, there's ladies and gentlemen, the understatement of the day. This is what the Bronx needs. Yes. We need nurses and we need jobs. I mean, and there we have it. Do you have an idea, Dean MacKillop, about how many nursing graduates you could deal with, or is it still too early to really?
I think it's still too early.
All right. I'm going to get back to you about that.
Yes.
I promise. I wanted to talk also about this Hero Dads program. There have been many fathers programs in the Bronx, and some of them moderately successful. Talk to me a little bit, if you would, about what BronxWorks is doing as far as Hero Dads.
So we've had fatherhood programs in the past,
yes.
And so our current version of that is called Herodots. Hero meaning healthy, empowered, resilient, and open. And so this program focuses on non-custodial fathers. And so we help these dads with all the traditional employment-related services. But at the same time, we work closely with our funder, Montefiore Medical Center, to ensure that these dads are also undergoing really comprehensive clinical intakes to ensure that they not only become better parents and and have a better relationship with their co-parent, but that when they do assume employment, that they are mentally in a place where they're ready to attain and retain that employment and to create self-sufficiency for themselves and for their families.
One of the other items in researching your program that I discovered, which was very interesting, is the notion of services for employers. And
yes.
that employers now are saying, well, wait a minute, I don't have enough employees. How do I connect? Talk to me a little bit about making that connection. And then we're going to ask Ms. Ventrudo a similar question about, working with the door and their programs and how they connect with people who are really going to get them jobs.
Well, one of our main, one of the main things we do at Workforce Development is to ensure that we're making employment connections with employers that understand the populations that we serve, are invested in the community, and want to give back by taking the chance on hiring the individuals that we serve. And so it starts right here at BronxWorks. BronxWorks is one of the biggest employers of our members, as we refer to our clients. In terms of after they go through these different occupational training programs, BronxWorks is first and foremost at the top of the line of employers willing and ready to hire these individuals and to give them a chance to not only gain an entry-level position, but the opportunity to gain benefits and the opportunity to be promoted into managerial positions.
Yeah, I'm very supportive, and certainly when it comes to managerial positions, then we have to go look at Lehman College, and you're talking about college degrees because you're not going to get to that point without it. Ms. Ventrudo, let's just talk a little bit about people, where they get the jobs. How enthusiastic are the companies to hire them? Where they stand in the process of? We saw in that video there were young men working at the top of buildings and doing all that kind of stuff. Just talk to me about that connection with people who hire people.
Sure. Two of our program partners are both the World Monuments Fund and also Local 1 IMI, International Masonry Institute, and Local 1 Bricklayers Union. And one of the strengths of our program is that with the masonry program, we keep 2 young people on as apprentices. So they're spending an additional 10 months with us, working in the repair and preparing to take that test to get into the union. So that's something that's very important to us in placing these young folks into the trades. And last year we had 4 young men from our program. 2 were delayed a little bit because of COVID. That kind of put their entry into the apprentice program at Local 1 on hold. But once things resumed a little bit, we were able to put 4 young folks into Local 1 Bricklayers Union, and they're working at Castle Clinton and at I think St. John the Divine. So they're out.
They're out and working.
They are out and working. And yep.
Dean MacKillop, this I thought was fascinating. School of Continuing and Professional Studies has an adult degree program and now those programs can get college credits. It's like win, 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 win. Just talk to me about that, and then we're going to go around the room real quick and have everybody just talk about, how people can get in touch with you. So Dean MacKillop, why don't you start that?
So the City University has a new policy whereby students can get credit for credentials that they've earned before they go to college in terms of certificates and other sorts of experience and certification. And as a result of that, it increases the number of people who can get to college, who can take college degrees. It really enhances their capacity to get a degree. And we take a number of, about 1,000 students a year come through the adult degree program. They come mostly with some credit, but no degree, obviously. Right. And we offer special services for them. We offer them special courses for which they can earn credit.
So we're almost out of time. But really the concept is revolutionary in a way, because it used to be you take continuing ed and, well, that's nice and you get it, maybe get a certificate, but here it goes towards your college degree. Yes. If people, we'll start with you, Dean MacKillop, if people want to get in touch with you and or with Lehman College, just go to the website. Is there something else that they need to do?
Yeah, go to the website, go to certificates, click on certificates, you're there.
And of course, any of the other programs, yes. And let's really get people into school. Let's ask Meg Ventrudo about the same kind of thing. If people, now you were looking for people to participate. Are we still doing that? We're enrolling in the program?
Our class is full for this year, but we're looking for landscape students for the fall. And you can just go to woodlawn.org, which is our website. Click on Bridge to Crafts Careers and send us your name, your email address. We keep lists and we'll outreach to those folks when the fall semester starts up.
Great. And just because it's not right now, you got to start and you got to get your mind set and let's get it done. And so Ms. Tamaisar, let's talk with you and what do we do to get involved in the expansive BronxWorks workforce program?
So again, go to our website, www.bronxworks.org, click on About Our Services, click on Workforce Development, and then the list of the programs housed within the department will show up, and each program lists the criteria to be able to enter the program.
Great. Listen, to me, this is, we could have had a million different people who are trying to support Bronx people getting jobs, but we thank BronxWorks and Betty Ann Tamaisar. Nice to have you with us. Thank you, Meg Ventrudo from Woodlawn Conservancy and Cemetery, and Dean Jane MacKillop from my alma mater, Lehman College. Nice to have you with us. And folks, don't be shy. Stand up. Bronx people, that's what we do. And there are opportunities out there. I think that's the bottom line. So that is all we're going to do for this evening. We thank our guests for joining us. Stay safe, wear your mask. We thank our two great producers, Stephen Powell and Rebecca Hemick. And that's it. We will see you next week. More Bronx Talk at that time. Good night.